to the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com, and welcome to the Chasing That Paper Super Bowl 57 betting extravaganza. Joe, we got a big one planned for you today. 12 total picks for the Super Bowl. You might be thinking, Joe, the Super Bowl is not till next weekend. Why are you doing the show so early? Guys, you do not want to be the person who's waiting to the day of the game to get your bets in. With each passing day, you're losing value. The numbers on these props are moving and moving and moving, sucking the value right out of these numbers. So we're going to want to get the best bang for our buck. Get your bets in early here. So we've been assured by producer Tito, no technical difficulties today. We had some issues there yesterday, but Tito's ironed things out. Producer Tito in a very cranky mood today is Miami Heat. Another disappointing performance on the road by them last night, but no basketball talk today. It is all NFL. And of course, I bring in my partner, my co-host for today, senior editor over at VegasInsider, Iain MacMillan. Lovely shirt he's wearing today. Is that a new top, Ian?
No, it's just one I haven't worn for a while, Joe. It's not a new top. 10 top. Nice title for me there today, Tito. I like that. Thank you.
Ian, a big advocate of the $10 to $10,000 challenge.
Hey, it's an easy way to make money. Sportsbooks hate it.
Ian's on day number 3 of trying to cash in. So if you're looking for $10 to $10K challenge bets, make sure you follow Ian on Twitter. Okay, we got a lot to get into today. 12 total picks for Super Bowl 57. So let's stop wasting time and let's get right into the action. So my favorite bet for the game, I absolutely love the over on that number of 50.5. So let's dig into this one. You check out the stats for each of these teams, and both the Chiefs and the Eagles are extremely clutch on third down and in the red zone. That ball is going to be moving. Drives will be extended, and we should expect more touchdowns than field goal attempts when they get in close, as both teams rank in the top 4 this season in both third down conversion percentage and red zone touchdown conversion percentage. Expect a lot of big chunk plays in this game because that's what these teams do. First and second in passing plays of 20-plus yards. Second and third in passing plays of 40-plus yards as well. You take a look at each defense. This Kansas City defense is absolutely awful in the red zone. One of the absolute worst in the NFL at 30th in opponent red zone touchdown conversion percentage. And this is going to be the toughest test of the season for the Eagles defense. Let's be fair. It's been a cupcake schedule of opposing offenses for these Eagles so far. There's no denying that this is absolutely a strong defense, but take a look up and down the list of teams they face this season. Not very impressive at all. This will easily be their toughest test of the season. Give me over 50.5 in Super Bowl 57. All right, Ian, you like a side for your best bet for the game. What are you looking at?
I don't like a side, Joe. I love a side in Super Bowl 57. Give me the Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Yes, sir. Bringing it.
Let's go. I got full disclosure. I did get him at a pick 'em. The current line -1.5. Love it there as well. Joe, you just kind of shit on their defense. Sure, they haven't played Patrick Mahomes yet, but I still think this defense is being underrated. When the Eagles won, even when they were handing them the trophy, they said, how do you guys feel? You just beat the best defense in the NFL in the 49ers. I say, the best defense in the NFL is owned by the Philadelphia Eagles. Heading into the Super Bowl, they ranked first in the NFL in opponent yards per play, only giving up 4.7 yards per snap. First in opponent yards per pass attempt, giving up 5.4 yards per throw. And what might make the biggest difference in this game is first in the NFL in sack percentage. Best pass rush in the entire National Football League, taking down the opposing quarterback on 11.49% of their dropbacks. Now, when it comes to the Chiefs defense, they are not even in the same league as the Eagles defense. Specifically in the red zone, it is an issue that I've brought up with the Chiefs in the past, but they have one of the worst red zone defenses in the NFL. 30th in the NFL in opponent red zone touchdown scoring percentage, allowing their opponents to score a touchdown on 65.57% of their red zone trips against them. And let's be honest, this Chiefs team, a little bit banged up heading into the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes will play, but he's going to be playing on a bit of a bum ankle. And then you have a receiving core who, worst case scenario, you're going to have Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Sky Moore as your two starting receivers. Even if Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman do play, they're going to be banged up. Chiefs, or I should say the Eagles, are certainly going to be the more healthy team heading into the Super Bowl. So I'll take the fly, Eagles, fly, -1.5 in Super Bowl 57.
All right. Ian bringing the energy today. I absolutely love it. All right, let's get into some quarterback props now. I'm going to target Jalen Hurts. I'm going to target his pass attempts. It's sitting there at 31.5. Absolutely love the under on this one. So you dig into his numbers, his game logs. He stayed under this number of 31.5 pass attempts in 9 of his last 12 starts. Philly actually throws at the 4th lowest percentage in the NFL. They lead the league in rushing attempts per game. Why would you deviate from that versus this Chiefs team? They're going to want to keep Mahomes off the field, make things a little bit easier on their defense, so controlling the clock will be key here. Business as usual for the Philly offense. They're going to be running it a lot. Give me Hurts under 31.5 pass attempts. Ian, your favorite quarterback prop, what do you got?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bold one, not one that probably a lot of people are going to be rushing to the betting window to take, but I'll take Patrick Mahomes under 290.5 passing yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. Main reason, and I already brought this up about the Eagles defense, but they have the best pass defense in the NFL. First in opponent yards per pass attempt, giving up only 5.4 yards per throw. Also the best pass rush, which is going to hurt Mahomes a little bit. Also, they're only allowing a total of 171 passing yards per game this season, which is almost 120 yards fewer than the set total for Patrick Mahomes in this game. In the Chiefs' path to victory, if they're smart, now we'll see if they do follow this game plan, but if they're smart, the Chiefs should run the ball more than they throw the ball, because the weakness, the issue of the Eagles' defense is their inability to stop the run. They're 21st in rush defense DVOA, 24th in opponent yards per carry. If you want to score on this Eagles defense, run the football. The Chiefs aren't built to do that, but if they do at least try to do that, that's going to mean fewer pass attempts for Patrick Mahomes, and obviously that will lead to fewer yards for Patrick Mahomes. So I'll take Mahomes under 290.5 passing yards in the Super Bowl.
All righty, to running back props we go. My favorite running back prop, I like Isaiah Pacheco of the Chiefs to rush for over 49.5 yards. This is an absolutely beautiful number. He's been the lead back in the playoffs for Kansas City. 7 more carries in the 2 playoff games than Jerick McKinnon. You look at his game logs down the stretch and in the playoffs here so far, he's topped this number of 49.5 in 9 of his last 11 games. An average of 68.5 rushing yards per game in that span. We are getting an enormous bargain on this number. And of course, to bring it all together, what is the weakness of this Eagles defense? It is against the run. Philly, 24th in yards allowed per rush. Absolutely love Pacheco. Over 49.5 rush yards. Ian, your favorite running back prop, what are you looking at?
Not only is this my favorite running back prop, this might be my favorite prop of the entire Super Bowl, Joe. It is Kenneth Gainwell to go over 16.5 rushing yards. That's it. We only need 17 rushing yards from this guy. And it should be pretty easy considering in the first 2 playoff games, this guy has ran for a combined 160 yards. I believe is 112 in the divisional round against the Giants, 48 last week. But his rushing total is only at 16.5 for the Super Bowl. Also, he's getting a pretty increased load here. 42% of snaps he played last week. He had 14 carries in that game last week. He had 12 carries against the Giants. He just might end up being the feature running back for this Philadelphia Eagles offense in the Super Bowl. And also, even if he isn't the featured back, I'm still not too concerned because this Eagles team loves to run the ball, and they've been running the ball even more as of late. As you brought up earlier, Joe, 4th in the NFL in rush play percentage. Over their last 3 games, that number goes up to 57.82% of their plays have been run plays. Their last game against the 49ers, 62.86% of their plays were run plays. So if they're going to run the ball that much, they can't just rely on Miles Sanders. Kenneth Gainwell is going to get in the game, and he's going to soar over this 16.5 rushing yards total.
The disrespect to Gainwell. Okay, to receiving props we go. I'm going to go right back to the well. Travis Kelce, his receiving yard total set at 80.5. What do you think I'm doing here? Absolutely, boom! Love the over on this one. So he's a big player in big games. Kind of makes sense to get your best players involved in more meaningful games, and that's exactly what the Chiefs do. An average of 104.3 receiving yards in his last 8 playoff games, double-digit targets in 5 of these games. Notably, caught 10 of 15 targets for 133 in his most recent Super Bowl versus the Bucs. That's the only thing that went well for the Chiefs offense in that game. And Philly hasn't faced a whole lot of elite skill players this season. You know, in the second half of the season, a few guys do stand out, though. CeeDee Lamb went for 120 against them. Terry McLaurin went for 128 against them. I like Kelce to once again have another big game here in the playoffs. Over 80.5 receiving yards. All right, Ian, your favorite receiving prop. Who you got?
Yeah, I hate to do it. I'm going to fade my guy. I literally just bought this guy's jersey a few days ago. But I'm going to fade him in this spot because I think this number's a little too high. It's Devontae Smith. I'm going to go under 5.5 receptions for him. Juice at around minus 130. I think a big reason why is because Devontae Smith is obviously their deep threat. He's a sideline player, but that's kind of the strength of the Chiefs' pass defense. They're third in the NFL in opponent yards per completion. The way to attack this Chiefs defense with the air is to do it with short routes, small passes, intermediate routes. That's not exactly where Devontae Smith's strengths lie. And also, I brought this point up earlier. The Eagles should stick to running the ball. What did I say? 63% of the time of their plays last week were run plays. That's not going to help any of these receivers to go over their set totals for the game. And also, there's a lot of players on this Eagles offense that they could go to. Obviously, Devontae Smith is the number 2 receiver. You got A.J. Brown in the mix, Dallas Goedert at tight end, who's been seeing a lot of targets recently. You have a pretty good backfield with Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, and Miles Sanders. There's just a lot of guys on this Eagles offense. It's hard for me to imagine, especially with how he matches up with the strength of the Chiefs defense, for Devontae Smith to catch 6 balls in the Super Bowl. So I'll go under 5.5 receptions for my guy, Devontae Smith.
All right, anytime TD score time, and my selection here, I think it's the best value on the board. Boston Scott to score a touchdown, coming in at plus 550. Are you kidding me? Look up and down the list here. This is absolutely the best value on the board, especially when you consider that Boston Scott has scored a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games. Plenty of touches in the red zone. In recent weeks, he's had a rush attempt inside of the 5 in 3 straight games. This is very important because the Kansas City Chiefs defense absolutely stinks inside of the red zone. 30th in opponent red zone touchdown conversion percentage. Give me Boston Scott to score a touchdown plus 550. Ian, your favorite touchdown scoring bets? Who you got?
Yeah, this is a guy I've already cashed in on twice in the playoffs. He scored in both the first 2 Chiefs games, so I'll take him to score again in the Super Bowl. That is Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the pride of the USF Bulls. Some might say the second most famous guy to come out of USF. First most famous, Tito, our producer. Go Bulls. That's right. As I mentioned a little bit earlier here in the show, Marquez Valdes-Scantling might be the only good, healthy receiver available for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. Sure, Mecole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster could end up playing, but MVS is going to be at least the only healthy one. That one we can say for sure, and we saw his increased workload last week. He saw 8 targets. He's found the end zone. He had one of his best games of the season last week. When the Chiefs had to rely on him, they were able to. And also, as I mentioned earlier, he's scored in both Chiefs playoff games so far. So at 2-1, I think we're getting some pretty good value on him. I'll take MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, to score a touchdown again at 2-1.
All right, let's take a look at the MVP odds. So, of course, we know it's usually a quarterback who wins it. 31 times a quarterback has won the Super Bowl MVP, but we also see a lot of long shots. Well, not a lot. Occasionally a long shot will win the Super Bowl MVP. So let's take a look at our favorite long shot bets for the MVP. I'm going to go with the pride of Rutgers University, Isaiah Pacheco, going off at 50-1. The touches will absolutely be there for Pacheco. I think he has a big game. We all know the weakness of this Eagles defense is against the run. Pacheco leads the team in rush attempts and rushing yards in the playoffs so far, while also ranking 3rd in receiving yards. This is a guy with big play ability, and those big, sexy highlights lead to votes from the MVP voters. And let's keep in mind, he's also the team's leading kick returner. Does the name Desmond Howard ring a bell at all? Former Super Bowl MVP who ran one back. We see kick return touchdowns all the time in the Super Bowl. If he can run one back and rack up some yardage in the run and pass game, I absolutely love his chances. Worth a sprinkle. At 50-1, Isaiah Pacheco. Ian, who's your favorite long shot MVP bet for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a defensive player. It is the heart and soul of this Philadelphia Eagles defense. It is Hassan Reddick. I'm going to take him at 35-1 as my long shot Super Bowl MVP bet. This guy had a fantastic season for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just an absolute force. In the regular season, 16 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. And if the Eagles win, their defense shutting down Patrick Mahomes is going to be key. And I think the guy who could play the biggest role in doing that is Hassan Reddick. Maybe a couple sacks, maybe he gets an interception, maybe a forced fumble recovery. There's a lot of different ways Hassan Reddick could have a big game. And if the Eagles win, like I said, their defense is going to play a huge role in that. And also, let's not forget Patrick Mahomes is playing on a little bit of a bum ankle in the Super Bowl, so he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable, maybe not quite as mobile as he is when fully healthy, which should help out a guy with the speed of Hassan Reddick coming off the edge. So I'll take him at 35-1. I think if you're going to bet on a defensive player to win Super Bowl MVP, I think he's the best bet at that price.
Yeah, look at that. 12 picks for the Super Bowl in 14 minutes. Absolutely beautiful here, Ian. Yeah, Super Bowl MVP. You often hear the word, the expression that put a sprinkle in on a bet. Super Bowl MVP bets, the long shot ones, are absolutely perfect for a little sprinkle. It's often a quarterback that wins, but, you know, Von Miller a couple of years ago, probably not a whole lot of people predicted that one. Okay, guys, make sure if you're watching this live right now on YouTube, or if you're watching the replay at some point and lead up to the Super Bowl, hit the like button on the video, hit the subscribe button on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Lots of great information covering everything in the world of sports betting. Now, if you're looking to get down some bets here for the Super Bowl, if you're looking to open up a new book for the Super Bowl, you should be shopping around. You should have multiple sports books. I got to recommend BetMGM to you guys. Let me tell you a little bit about them. It's never been easier to bet with confidence. That's because the king of sportsbooks is giving you a can't miss first bet offer with up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS and get a first bet offer up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer of $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Just use the code VI bonus. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older to wager. Offer is for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
Bang! Bang! It's good!
I have one more bet
that
I'd like to give
bet you got. What you got?
Rihanna, for her the color of her first outfit to be gold.
Okay.
Bet it at 5-1. If you want a little exotic prop, if you can find it out there, there you go. Rihanna, for color of Rihanna's first outfit to be gold.
My follow-up is why? Why?
So there was a teaser trailer put out by Rihanna or by the Super Bowl or something about her halftime performance, and she was wearing a black dress, but over that black dress was a gold, like, throw kind of thing.
A shawl?
A shawl, maybe, if you will. I think that might tease that. I think gold might be the theme of her halftime show. So I don't think she's going to come out in a black dress, even though she was wearing a black dress in the teaser. I think she's going to come out wearing gold. 5-1. Okay. You heard it here first.
5-1. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the halftime show. I like the one they did
be
last year with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre,
Oh, that was
Eminem.
great.
The 50 Cent part was a little rough. But yeah, they're up in their game here. They're going with more modern acts, I guess you could say,
Yes.
for the Super Bowl halftime show. So yeah, I do look forward to Rihanna and see if she has any special guests come out with her. So yeah, that's one of the things that most people do look forward to, the halftime show, the commercials, which kind of brings me to a topic I want to discuss here, Ian. So I threw a tweet up on Twitter, of course on Twitter, a couple days ago. And I said, the worst decision a serious football fan can make is to host a Super Bowl party. I watched the game in a room by myself last year. It was great. Now, I did have some pushback on that. I did have a lot of people agree with me as well. So let's discuss this a little bit. Tito, if you want to bring the camera back on me here. Let me set the scene here for you, Ian, and I will give you a chance to respond. So I spend all 18 weeks of the NFL season and the first 3 rounds of the playoffs extremely locked in to each and every game, especially the primetime games. I didn't miss a minute of red zone all season. So why, for the biggest game of the season, would I deviate from that plan? I want to be more locked into the biggest game of the season than any other game this season. And like I said, last year, I watched the Super Bowl for the first time ever in a room by myself. I got my pizza, I got some Doritos, I got some chips, I got some ice cream, I drank a lot of beer. It was absolutely fantastic. I heard every word of commentary. I was able to focus on the commercials. The halftime show was absolutely fantastic. However, if you're at a party, you got people coming and going, 3 different conversations taking place, people who don't even give a shit about football. Now, if you're a casual fan, sure, a Super Bowl party is fine. But I don't think some of these serious fans know what they're getting into. They go to these parties, and half the people there don't give a shit about the game. So what do you think here, Ian? Am I being uptight here? Do you think I'm on to something?
No, I think you are on to something. I think huge Super Bowl parties are more for casual fans or people who care more about the commercials and the halftime show. They're fine, but I think most people who really watch football and are actual fans of the sport itself would probably agree with you. But I wouldn't say I like watching it by myself the best. My ideal situation is 4 or 5 of close friends watching it together. I think that's the most enjoyable. And make sure that all of them are actual football fans, so we're all watching the game and not just having conversations during the plays. But yeah, I will be watching it, just my girlfriend and I this year. But an ideal situation would be me and 3 or 4 or 5 other guys. I think that might be a little bit better than just watching it by myself.
Yeah, maybe we'll get together some year and watch it. But yeah, I like watching big time events. I don't need people in my ear. I don't need you providing commentary and analysis when there's actual commentators and analysis to provide that for me. I'm the same way as with the big UFC pay-per-views. If I'm with people and the post-fight interview, shut up. Nobody talk. I want to hear what the guy is going to say. Right? So,
and for people watching this, Joe is telling the truth, because when we worked together previously, we'd watch some big UFC events and the Super Bowl together, and I remember Joe several occasions would be actually standing up right next to the TV so he could listen to what they were saying and drown everyone else out. So yeah, that is correct. He will stand right next to the TV with his ear pressed up against it if he has to. I've seen it.
So what are you going to do for Super Bowl food here this year, Ian? Did you break your dry January yet?
No, my big race on Sunday, so after my race on Sunday will be I'll have my first drink.
Okay, so what's on the menu for the Super Bowl then?
Haven't figured it out completely. I will say, you know what I think is the most underrated Super Bowl food is mozzarella sticks. People talk about wings all the time. You talk about nachos. You talk about all those classics. I don't think enough people bring up mozzarella sticks. And unbelievable, and also really good for the Super Bowl and for watching events, because they're not messy either. They're very easy to eat. So I'm big on the mozzarella sticks. I guarantee there will be mozzarella sticks at here while I'm watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was putting a lot of thought into what I want to do for the food that I'm going to eat when I'm in a room by myself watching the Super Bowl this year, and I was going to like make some nachos and some wings and stuff like that, but then I thought, fuck that. That's too much work. I'm going to go pick up a pizza and some chips, maybe some Doritos, something exotic. Of course, a lot of ice cold beer, some frosted mugs to go run to grab some refills at the commercial. So yeah, nice and easy. It's going to be stressful enough this game. I'm going to have, the 6 bits I did today. I'm more likely get a bunch of other exotic ones in and fun ones in. That's the fun of the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 57 this year, but what do you know? Odds for Super Bowl 58 are already up on the board. I think that there's some decent value spots here, actually, and some spots I do disagree with. We have a little graphic here showcasing producer Tito. If you want to bring up that graphic we have for
he's too busy debating people in the YouTube chat to bring up the Super Bowl graphic.
Do we have the graphic, Tito? Or
he says, "Give me a second." He says.
We looked at it in the pre-show meeting. Yes. He's on here talking mozzarella sticks, top 2 appetizers, telling us. But this was a part of the show that we had planned out.
The pride of USF.
The pride of USF.
This is what the USF degree gets you.
Okay, so we'll hold on here. Oh, here we go now. Better late than never. Okay, these are odds for next year's Super Bowl, and there's a few that really stand out to me. We got the usual suspects here, and actually, I was kind of surprised to see the Eagles there at 8-1. But Chiefs favored, no big shock there. They got Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills, of course, they really underachieved this year, but they were the favorite to win the Super Bowl for about 90% of the season, right up until the point where they exited the season. The 49ers, really, I can't back that at that number when you don't know what the quarterback situation is. We still don't fully know about Brock Purdy. Is Jimmy G going to come back? Trey Lance? Who knows about that? But I got to tell you guys, the best value on the board right now is easily the Cincinnati Bengals at 10-1. This is a team that, had a few calls gone in their direction last week against the Chiefs. They could very easily be playing in this game against the Eagles. So I like that. I think the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy's going to be calling the plays now. Are you kidding me? They're going in the wrong direction. That is a disaster. The Chargers, are we going to do this again, guys? Can I shut down any preseason hype for the Chargers? You're going to hear it all spring, all summer. People going in on the Chargers. Oh, they got a new offensive coordinator now. We do this every single year for the Chargers, no matter who the coach is, no matter who the quarterback is. Shut it down. No part of the Chargers. Jets, we got to figure out who the quarterback's going to be, but a lot of young talent there. Absolutely. And then we take a look at that team there, the Denver Broncos, 28-1. Based on what? Sean Payton is wildly overrated. I told you guys this the other day. I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday when we were talking. Sean Payton won a Super Bowl back in 2010. Been dining out on that for over a decade now. Since then, he went 5-7 in the playoffs. 5 losses as a favorite in those games, by the way. Absolutely stacked teams. And people think the Broncos are just going to have a radical turnaround. Did we not learn our lesson with the Denver Broncos this past season? What about Russell Wilson makes you believe he's going to return to Pro Bowl form? Just because Sean Payton is there as a coach? 8 wins max for the Denver Broncos. Give me a break. My Miami Dolphins there at 30-1. I don't know. You dig into the stats. Ian will tell you net yards per play. Dolphins were a top 5 team. They had a lot of bad luck down the stretch of the regular season. Tua needs to stay healthy. They got to solidify their backup quarterback position a lot better. It looks like the defense is probably going to get a nice boost with Vic Fangio coming in. You go way down the list, though. I know everyone called the Vikings frauds this past season, but 50-1 seems a little disrespectful. A lot of question marks in that division. And I think the team that's being disrespected more than any, the Seattle Seahawks are 70-1 to win the Super Bowl next year. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? No. But at 70-1, that's a team that surprised this season, and they could get even better. They got a great first-round draft pick this year, so they could reload a little bit here, and they could be right back in the mix. So, Ian, what about the odds here for Super Bowl 58 stand out to you right now?
Well, you didn't mention the new kings of the NFC South, so I think the team that's getting disrespected the most.
Okay. Tell us why.
Not really. No, we're still a couple years away. Also, we do have a shit ton of cap space this offseason, so I'm very excited for the Falcons offseason. But Tito, let's bring up those odds one more time. I will say a team that I don't think you mentioned, Joe, unless I zoned out for a second.
You might have.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
At 30-1. This
Weak
team,
division?
I think they are now the kings of the AFC South. I think they are going to win their division, so they will host at least one playoff game. It's a very young team, a team that is only going to get better over the next couple of years. It is a team that has a coach that has recently won a Super Bowl, and Doug Peterson. They didn't, beat the Chiefs. It really came close, but I mean, they covered the spread. They gave them a little bit of a run for their money. Things go right for the Jaguars in a couple different spots. Could be an interesting bet at 30-1. And the New York Jets, if they get Aaron Rodgers, which is the rumor floating around, could be a little bit of an interesting bet there. I still will die on the hill that the Jets had a top 3 defense in the NFL this year. So top 3 defense, you throw in Aaron Rodgers, a lot of really good young offensive weapons. Breece Hall comes back, who was favorite for rookie the year before he got hurt this past season. Jets could be a little bit of a sneaky play too. But I will say overall, I think the next couple of years, I think we're going to see the same teams kind of competing for it, because there is a group of extremely good young quarterbacks and extremely good young teams, and it's probably not going to stray from that for the next little bit. So it's for the next few years, it's going to be the Chiefs in the mix, it's going to be the Bills, it's going to be the Bengals, it's going to be the Eagles, and then it's going to have to be someone at like a different team that's like the Jaguars, or a team that wins a bad division, or a wild card team that gets hot is the only chance that we're going to see someone going to run. But I think we're going to see a lot of Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles Super Bowl appearances in the years to come. These aren't teams that like this is their last year of their window. These are teams that have some years left, especially the teams that have their quarterback still on rookie contracts. So.
Now, what are your thoughts on my opinion on Sean Payton? A lot of people are against me on that. Some people back me. They think that I'm right. Some people think I'm being too harsh. But the Broncos, I know they lost a lot of close games, but all the stats, they were good defensively, but offensively, they were horrific. You think Sean Payton's just going to come in and completely turn things around here? 28-1? You think that's a ripoff?
Yeah, listen, I'm a Falcons fan, so I'm going to be biased. You're not going to hear me say anything good about Sean Payton. He's one of the this offseason he's getting hyped up like this is like an 8-time Super Bowl champ. Not only has he only won one Super Bowl, he's only been to one Super Bowl. This guy's overrated. He's not going to be able to completely fix this offense. So yeah, I do not like Sean Payton. I think he's overrated as a coach. And the Broncos might be a little bit better next season. I still don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, one team that I don't know what we're going to get from the Detroit Lions next season. Now, they were a bit of a darling coming into this season. A lot of people like them as an underdog. And they were one of the better teams in football in the second half. They almost got into the playoffs. They impressed a lot of people. That guy calling their offensive coordinator who calls plays for them, he's going to be back. Their defense was one of the worst in the league, though. Who knows if Goff can have back-to-back strong seasons. It's going to be a little bit of a different story, though, for the Lions. You're going to hear a lot of people picking them to win the division. It's different when you're an underdog, right? Everyone expects you to lose. Now, people are going to be expecting things from Detroit. They're going to be in a good position here in the draft once again. So do you think the Lions can continue going in the right direction, or maybe take a bit of a step back here?
I think they could go in the right direction. I mean, they are a fairly young team. I still don't really believe in Jared Goff. I mean, he did have a very good year. I should believe in him. I think I need to see more than one season. out of Jared Goff, and their defense was arguably the worst. I don't even think it's argued. I think their defense was the worst in the NFL this year. So they have holes they need to fill, but the NFC is pretty wide open, though. Outside of the Eagles, I think the Eagles and the 49ers, if their quarterback situation gets sorted out. But other than that, that conference is basically wide open. The Vikings, I don't think they're going to have as successful of a year this year. So the NFC North as a division could be right there for the Lions to take. The NFC East, I'm not really sold on the Giants. The NFC South obviously sucks. The Falcons might actually be favorites to win that division. The NFC West, the Rams have fallen off a cliff. The Cardinals are a shit show of a franchise. The NFC as a whole is wide open, specifically NFC North. So just based on that alone, the Lions are going to be in the mix next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people think of the Cleveland Browns going into next season as well. You know, Deshaun Watson was supposed to come in and be their big savior. I think a lot of people might give him a pass, but he was awful down the stretch of the season. He was worse than Russell Wilson was this season. So, yeah, that division will be very interesting, especially when we see what happens with Lamar Jackson here. I think people are going to overrate the Pittsburgh Steelers, but yeah, that's enough Super Bowl 58 talk. We still haven't played Super Bowl 57. So let me tell you guys right now a little bit about the VegasInsider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, features, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I might ban that damn sound effect. You got to use the turkey one more, you know?
Yes.
I like the turkeys.
You know what I'd like to ban? Not related to the show, but you know what I'd like to ban? That I think
What?
we're going to officially put to sleep after the Super Bowl? The gritty. Enough with the gritty. I'm sick of the gritty. I don't want to see anyone else do the gritty ever again. Let's say the Super Bowl is the last time the gritty can ever be done. When the Super Bowl is done, we move on as a society away from the gritty.
Yeah, it's annoying, and you see the host, you know, the 45-year-old dude. Let's all have a laugh, and let's all of us give it a try, and we'll all have a good laugh. Meanwhile, the audience is like, "Fuck off, cut it out."
Right.
No one thinks that's funny.
No, it's
Give us a
overplayed.
break here. Give us a break here. You get real entertainment here at Chasing That Paper. Any of these big network shows. Me and Ian give you what you want. Front loading the shows with picks every day. Then we talk about Super Bowl 58 features in the second half of the show. All right, guys, a couple of viewer picks here for the Super Bowl. We had a couple of submissions here today. A couple of good ones. A lot of people submitted picks, but no breakdowns. The whole point of the segment is to give a bit of a breakdown, a bit of an education on why you're making the pick. Of course, our guy Nathan Schreckengoss, he's on the same side as Ian. I like the Eagles to win and cover the spread here, too, just to be clear, but in a high-scoring game. So he likes the Eagles. Offenses are close in production, but the defenses were mismatches. The defense is where the mismatch is, Philly defense first in yards per play, 10th on third down, 11th in the red zone. KC 9, 17, and 30th. Philly is healthy at skilled positions. Outside of Chris Jones, Philly much better in the trenches. Yeah, the defense, that's ultimately the difference. I think that the offenses are fairly even. The Chiefs can throw it better, but yeah, better defense here for the Eagles. I think that's a big difference in this one. So Nathan, we wish you good luck, because Ian and I are both on the Eagles as well. We have No Doc Picks. Give this guy a follow. He's on Hurts under 21.5 completions. That aligns a little bit with my Hurts under 31.5 attempts, so I will wish him good luck on this. Way juicier than I like for a prop, but he's hit 22 completions, only 2 of his last 12 games, and during the playoffs, it's been 15 and 16. Philly loves ball control in the rush game. Good luck. Now, what I will say, and I hope I'm not arguing against myself too much here, yeah, Hurts didn't have to throw too much in the first 2 playoff games because they had enormous leads. So keep that in mind in your own personal handicapping. I'm not sure if they can get off to a 3-score lead on the Kansas City Chiefs here. I hope they can. but I don't know if that will be the case. And we have producer Tito weighing in. He likes Jalen Hurts for MVP, plus 110. Not the sexiest bet, but I do understand his logic here. Usually it is the quarterback who wins. The quarterback has won 31 Super Bowl MVP awards, so the quarterback of the winning team has a high percentage to win. So yeah, better value than the Eagles' money line, which is around minus 120, I think, depending on the sports book. And of course, we know the spread's currently at 1.5. Very easy TD score if Eagles get in the red zone where KC stinks. Yeah, Hurts has a rushing touchdown, I believe, in the first 2 playoff games here so far for Philly. Eagles will want Hurts to control the pace of the game and make him the MVP. Okay. We have Corn Dog. Okay, that's the important. Corn Dog is on tails. Give this guy, or Core Dog, excuse me, Core Dog 91. Tails, Joe. I'm told it never fails. I'm told that heads always prevails myself, so I might go heads. Isn't that? I think that's got to be the most garbage bet that we can make, and I bet it all the time.
I'm on heads,
especially if it's minus 110. If the sportsbook's going to offer you even odds, because it literally has a 50% chance of happening. But if you're betting minus 110 on one of the sides here, you're on heads this year, Ian?
I took heads, and I'm on the under for the national anthem.
Okay. I haven't even looked into that yet, but that's one of sports betting's greatest traditions. The over-under on the national anthem. You're sitting there with your stopwatch out or your clock on your phone, and it's a country music guy, I believe, doing it this year.
Chris
Do you remember?
Stapleton.
I think it was... Oh, I'm not up on this stuff. So what? Tell me why you're on the under, though.
Didn't do any research into it. I interviewed Mark Schlereth the other day, who's a 3-time Super Bowl winner, 1-2 with the Broncos. And I asked him, I said, I know you have no research into this, but the over-under for the national anthem is at 2 minutes, 5 seconds. What's your pick? And I'll tail it. And he said, I have no idea, but give me the under. I said, good enough for me. So that pick was courtesy of 3-time Super Bowl winner Mark Schlereth. He is on the under. I decided to tail it.
Mark Schlereth. Maybe we'll try to get him to come on this show here next week to weigh in a little more on the anthem. Now, the anthem, it's one of the funny things. If you pay attention, Ian and I, who work in the sports betting content industry, you pay attention to numbers that move and stuff like this. And there's always quite a bit of movement on the over-under of the anthem time in the days leading up to the game. There's always some sort of inside information. Some guy working at the stadium was there for the rehearsal, and he timed it out, and he told somebody, and all of a sudden an influx of money comes in on over or the under, and the number starts to move. But a couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, there was a reporter who knew absolutely nothing about betting, and he literally stood there filming himself outside the stadium listening to the anthem rehearsal. And of course, he goes on the internet and he puts it out, and a bunch of, I don't know if it was the over or the under, but like thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars come in on one side, to the point where sportsbooks actually took it right off the board. I know a lot of people were pissed off at that guy for some reason, because other people thought they had a bit of an edge or an in, and then they weren't able to bet it. But yeah, a lot of people were mad at that guy, I remember. So yeah, absolutely love the anthem.
Yeah, I will say to that point, if you want to bet on the anthem, which is always a fun bet, make sure you actually do that very early, because it's so popular now that when the rehearsal does happen, which is I think going to be like Wednesday, Thursday next week, it will get leaked how long the rehearsal is, and it will be taken off the board everywhere. So it's not one you're going to be able to bet Sunday morning. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, get your bets in. Before we go, guys, I got to tell you about today's handicapper heat check, presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Gary Bart's assault on the books continued last night with a 2-0 NBA record, bringing his 2-day run to a perfect 12-0 across all sports. Kevin Thomas is heating up in the NBA, hitting 5 straight winners, and AAA Sports is on a 6-0 NBA run. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's Hoops Best Bets. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Yeah. All right, Ian. That's it for a big Super Bowl show. I like doing these early. if you do, guys, I'm going to tell you one more time. So we're doing this, 8 days before the big game. You got to get your bets in early, especially for prop bets, because a lot of these that we gave out today, you might be watching this show the morning of the Super Bowl. Now, that sounds like a pretty good bet by Joe or Ian. I'm going to tail that, and you go look at it at your sports book, and it's going to be 5-6 yards high. Don't be surprised if that happens. So, and also, shop around. If you're going to open up a new sports book, I highly recommend checking out BetMGM. Use that code VIBonus. Take advantage of these bonuses. That's one of the areas where, the sports betting is hard enough. That's one of the areas where sports bettors can get a little bit back, right? Something that works in our advantage. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube right now, give us a like, give us a sub. So, Ian, it's a weird weekend, man. This is our first weekend without football in a very long time. I absolutely hate it. I live up here in the Northeast. It's very cold.
Yep.
I don't give a shit about the NHL All-Star Game. I do not care about the NFL Pro Bowl games, whatever is going on. So how are you going to fill your weekend and, more importantly, your Sunday with no football here this week?
Yeah, well, Saturday, I am going to be betting on the NHL All-Star Game. I'm taking the Central Division to win it all. I think it's plus 250. So if you want to ride me in the NHL All-Star Game...
Okay.
I like the under in the game between the Atlantic Division and the Metropolitan Division. The goaltenders in that game are absolutely fantastic. I like the Central Division to beat the Pacific Division and the Central Division to also win it all. So there's some NHL All-Star picks for you. Also, I'll be betting on golf and college basketball. Sunday, I mentioned earlier, it's my big race Sunday morning. So I'll be doing that. And then after I do that, I will be hitting up the bar and spending the day in the bar drinking a lot of beer. I'm interested what my tolerance is going to be like after over a month of not drinking. So that's going to be, I'm in for a fun Sunday. I will be likely pretty hungover on the show Monday morning. So get ready for that.
That's good to know. Appreciate the candor there, Ian. So you're going to go with a beer as your first alcoholic beverage. You've settled on that?
I'm deciding between a beer. I might go for breakfast right after because the race is pretty early. I'm going to be done around 9 o'clock. I might go for breakfast and get a mimosa.
I like that. So one time before I went to Mexico one year, you do a thing where you exercise and you get yourself in shape because you're going to be walking around with your shirt off for 7 days. I went without drinking for like 6 weeks. And the first beer I had in Mexico, it was an ice cold Corona out of a cooler of ice. It was dripping down my arm. It was the best beer I ever had in my life. It was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so you don't want to settle for a room temperature Coors Light when you've been off booze for 5 weeks. And so, yeah, make sure you think that through. Okay, guys, that does it for our Super Bowl 57 betting extravaganza. We thank you all for watching, and we wish you the best of luck with your bets for Super Bowl 57, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo! Yeah!